So you've just finished making your dish and you're pretty happy with it. But as you plate it up, you can't escape the thought that there's just something missing there. That finishing touch that brings it all together and propels it across the finish line. Don't worry, we've all been there. What if I told you I had exactly what you were looking for and it comes in a bottle? Is that something that you might be interested in? Well, look no further, because in this video, I'm showing you how to make 3 different kinds of infused oils using 3 different techniques that you can then apply to pretty much any oil to achieve any flavor that you want it to. They're essentially DIY perfumes for cooking that are really easy to make but can take your dish to a completely new level. They'll keep fairly long when stored properly, so you can easily make them in advance, and I personally think they're quite fun to experiment with. But without further ado, let's take a look at the first oil, which is the byproduct of garlic confit. For those unfamiliar with the French glossary, to confit quite literally means to preserve, but can more widely be applied to food that's been slow cooked in plenty of fat. Imagine deep frying, but at a much lower temperature. Slow cooking food submerged in fat gives it enough time to caramelize beautifully on the outside, while staying super tender on the inside. Confit garlic takes away the raw garlicky flavor and turns it into a pure flavor bomb that is as soft as butter and simply melts in your mouth. Not only that, but the cooking oil takes on the garlic flavor and turns into pure liquid gold. Making garlic confit is pretty simple. Let's go have a look. Like I said, garlic confit is a fairly straightforward process. You can use as many garlic cloves for this as you want, but I wouldn't recommend using less than 5 bulbs since this stuff is precious. I'm thinking this may be a good time to try the jar peeling trick. Like I was saying, this may be a good time to try the jar peeling trick. Nope. Okay, come on, you've got this. Way to go, you've defeated a level 1 jar. Now go ahead and pop your garlic in, close the lid and shake vigorously for half a minute. This should in theory release the cloves from their peels, or at least kind of loosen them up a bit. Oh, the irony. Let's try that again. After a quick shake and upon closer examination, the jar peeling trick seems to have had some effect. While most of the peels are still in place, they are slightly looser and do come off more easily, but manual work is still called for. I'll rate my findings as inconclusive. Finish up the job and move everyone to an oven-friendly dish. At this point you can add any hardy herbs or spices you may desire. I'm using grapeseed oil due to its neutral flavor and high smoke point, but you could experiment with alternatives. I'm sticking to just garlic and covering everything with enough oil to submerge completely, which in my case is about 2 cups or half a liter. Close whatever dish you're using with a piece of cooking foil tightly and move to a preheated oven set to 120 Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit for 2 hours. When the time is up, take your garlic out of the oven and let it cool down slightly. You'll be left with a deliciously spreadable garlic and a supercharged oil. To maximize my output, I like to strain my oil and use separately while topping up the garlic in its own jar with fresh olive oil that will soak up the flavors. These are best kept in the fridge in a jar for up to 2 weeks. You can use the garlic to make the most incredible garlic bread. Simply mix together some softened butter together with as many confit garlic cloves as you like. Add some fresh chopped parsley and season with salt and pepper. Then spread generously over your bread of choice and pop in the oven under the broiler until you get a golden crunch across the top. Use some of the oil to finish your garlic bread and enjoy. This oil also works wonders in making garlic mayo, simply finishing meats, fish and other dishes you may like. I really do encourage you to experiment. The possibilities are, as they say, endless. Now for our next trick, let's turn the heat up by a notch and make a vibrant chili oil. To a cooked pan, we're adding a stick or 2 of cinnamon, 1 or 2 bay leaves, a couple of heaping tablespoons of sichuan peppercorns, 3 star anise, half a teaspoon of cloves, half a teaspoon of cardamom pods, and last but not least, half a teaspoon of coriander seeds. Now, don't worry if you're missing any of these. Experimenting will get you a long way in understanding what you like and what works for you, so substitute or forego entirely as you must. You could even use just a single spice that you wanted to highlight, and that would really showcase its aromatic qualities, as well as help you gauge its properties for future cooking. Once you have your desired spice mix in your pan, turn the heat to medium and start moving everyone around as soon as you smell the first whiffs of aroma. Toast for 1 or 2 minutes. Crush lightly in a pestle and mortar under a heavy skillet and set aside. Now let's go ahead and slice up 1 or 2 shallots based on their size. Nothing fancy, just a rough chop will do. We're also going to crush and peel 2 or 3 garlic cloves. Now moving on to the oil, I'm using grapeseed again for its neutral flavor and high heat tolerance. But you can try canola, a vegetable oil, as a substitute. Add 2 cups or 500 ml of your choice of oil to a saucepan and set over low-medium heat. If you have a thermometer, you're shooting for about 120 Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit. But should you lack such a device, you can gauge the temperature by sight. Drop a slice or two of your shallots, and what you're looking for is plenty of smoke bubbles surfacing around the shallot. If your bubbles are too large and aggressive, turn the heat down, or if you're getting none, turn it up slightly. When you're happy with the temperature, go ahead and add the rest of your onion along with the garlic and spices. We're going to let the shallot caramelize nicely for anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. When your oil is done infusing, you want to briefly heat it up over medium-high heat for no more than 30 seconds, and then strain it through a sieve over half a cup of the best chili flakes that you can find. If you're always at the right temp, this will cause crackling sounds and bubbles will start foaming up as you progress to add the oil. When everything's calmed down, add a teaspoon of salt and stir everyone around. You want to let this come down to room temp and then store in the fridge for up to a month. This oil is super punchy and can make a dish on its own. I absolutely love it over roasted vegetables, but it can be applied to pretty much anything. Again, use your imagination and also try new things. As a side note, considering how much chili flakes go into this, it's not overly spicy by any means, but its aroma is absolutely out of this world, and the heat that it brings absolutely elevate these vegetables. Now to finish up the oily trio. For our last act, we'll be making something a little brighter. Fresh herb oil. I'm using basil for the purpose of the video, but the same technique would pretty much apply to any leafy herb, such as dill, parsley, or mint. For starters, we want to blanch our herbs of choice in a big pot of salted water for about 30 seconds. This step is vital as the cooking process will intensify and preserve the bright green colors of the herbs. I'm adding 100 grams of basil to a big pot of salted boiling water and blanching for 30 seconds. As soon as the 30 seconds are up, transfer the herbs to a nice bath and cook completely. This will stop the cooking process at the right time. When your herbs are chilled, you want to give them a squeeze as to get rid of as much water as you can. We don't want the water diluting our oil, and also fat and water don't like each other particularly much. Transfer your greens to a blender and add 2 cups or 500 ml of your oil of choice. I'm not planning on heating this oil up, so this time round I'm going with olive oil instead of grapeseed. Go ahead and take your time in understanding how the blender you've had for years works, and blend everything on high speed until the herbs break down completely. When blended, pass through a medium fine sieve, pressing the solids through if you wanted a hazy oil, or optionally run through a finer sieve to collect all of the herbs to get a clearer and more vibrant end result. And with that, our fresh herb oil is good to go. The bright green colors and fresh aromas these oils can produce make them a crowd favorite for pairing with light meat, fish, and also great for salad vinaigrettes. And since you've made it this far, here's a quick tip on making a quick and easy salad dressing. To a jar, add 3 parts of your herby oil, 1 part acid. I like fresh lemon juice with this oil. And lastly, a teaspoon of light mustard, seasoned with salt and pepper. Give everything a good shake, and voila, a well emulsified and delicious dressing in no time. It does make any salad sing, and since I have no teaser outro this time round, I'm not going to tell you to make your own, but I have a hunch you might. Until next time.